Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of On Cloud Anime, where today I will be talking about some animes that I watched in March. And with the end of March happening, that means that the seasonal anime of the winter is officially over, meaning that Frieren, Apothecary Diaries, and Mashle have officially ended their seasonal run, which are the anime that I end up talking about in January. And sooner or later, I will be talking about the animes that are coming out this season, plus the animes that I watched in April. But for now, these are the 3 anime that I watched in March. Now, for this first anime I want to talk about, I feel like there should be a little bit of context placed. Now, this goes all the way back to 2018, when I was still in 5th grade and I had no real experience to a lot of animes. And my friend introduced me to one of my first animes, which was A Silent Voice. And it was the first movie that I had officially fallen in love with. Growing up, the only anime movie that I can vividly remember watching is Ponyo. And compared to that, A Silent Voice took this to another level. It taught me lessons that I had never forgotten, experiences with characters that I will forever cherish. The story of the main character trying to redeem himself by doing various actions such as learning sign language so he can apologize to the girl that he used to bully, it's just beautiful. And it's something that I'll never forget and will cherish for the rest of my life. So when I heard that there was a story about the main character who was deaf, I kind of got a little bit excited. And this turned out to be the first anime we're going to be talking about today, which is Signs of Affection. Now, this anime is nothing really like A Silent Voice, besides the fact that the main character kind of looks like the main girl in A Silent Voice. But other than that, it's kind of just completely different. This anime is kind of more focused between the romance of 2 people. And I think that the story he tries to tell between the 2 characters is actually pretty beautiful. You see, I love romance animes, but my biggest issue with them is that the 2 main characters getting together kind of makes no sense sometimes. Like, it's just a bunch of random series of events that leads them to each other. But in this case, it's actually justifiable. The 2 characters getting along so well makes so much more sense because of the context of the situation. We start off with the main character who's deaf and wishes to experience more of the world besides what she's been limited to due to her disabilities. And the main love interest, Itsumi, who's a big traveler and loves to see the rest of the world, but doesn't understand this perspective that Yuki sees all the time and wants to learn more about her world. Even going as far as to even learn sign language for her, which is kind of charming. But the chemistry between these 2 characters, it just works and it doesn't feel forced at all. And it reminds me of why I love the romance in anime so much. Because this season was pretty action-packed, but this anime was just so relaxing to watch and chill. And it's why every single season I can always put aside some time for at least 1 or 2 romance animes. And I know that there are people out there that enjoy having at least a tiny bit of drama, but don't worry because this romance anime definitely does have some of it. I recommend Signs of Affection to people that purely enjoy romance in their animes, because although I enjoyed it a lot, I don't think that this is everyone's cup of tea, because it doesn't focus on trying to make you laugh like a lot of romance nowadays do, which is kind of refreshing, because sometimes the romances that try to be funny, they're still not. I still love them, but they're not. The only thing I can say about this anime that I didn't really like was the art style. You know, sometimes it was kind of weird to look at, but that's just a personal thing. But yeah, that's Signs of Affection. If you need a break from all the action in the winter season, this could be it for you, unless you don't like romance. The next thing I will be talking about is actually not technically an anime. In fact, it's made by a Chinese studio, and the only reason I'm talking about it is because it is still streamed on Crunchyroll, so I'm gonna count it, which is Link Click. Due to the sake of convenience, I'm going to say that Link Click is an anime. Now, depending on when you're watching this, April 30th is officially when Link Click turns 3 years old. And the premise of the show is that the 2 main characters take a picture and they are able to go back in the past to when that picture was first taken, and they have the power to change the past, but they have to be very careful with that because a lot of bad things can happen if they alter the past too much, which is why they make rules. And the intensity for each episode just gets crazier. And I'm going to be completely honest, out of everything I've watched, Link Click probably has the best first episode of a show that I've watched. The amount that this show is able to tell within the span of the first 24 minutes is actually insane. And I don't know who was directing the story for the first season, but they need a raise because it was incredible. And I just want to clarify, this is not an adaptation of a manhwa, so the fact that everything just works so well in the first season genuinely impresses me. And one thing that amplifies the intensity of each episode is the ending song. Holy shit, this is incredible. Anytime something crazy happens, you always hear the ending song Don't Think About It. Oh my god, it's incredible. Now, I finished watching the first season about a year ago, so I was a little late to the party, but I was so excited for the release of season 2 because the way that season 1 ends off, it only makes you want more that I don't know how people could wait a year for season 2 to come out. But when the time finally came, I got to watch season 2 after so long after the release date in June. The one thing that made me worry was that I was scared that the storytelling would not match up with season 1 because season 1 was incredible and trying to live up to that is kind of a hard task to live up to. And unfortunately, I do not think that it did that at all. You see, here's the biggest issue when you don't have a source material to follow. Things kind of go off the rails. Like, season 2 was by no means bad. It was still pretty good. It's just that they were introducing a lot of things into the show that everything just became so convoluted. To be honest, the show could have ended at season 2, but they're definitely hinting towards another season coming out. But my biggest issue with the Link Click season 2 so far are the villains. Holy shit, the motive for the villain is really stupid. I genuinely had to sit there for like 2 minutes and think, why the hell is this the motive? But by far, the character I hate the most is the minor antagonist. He kind of acts alongside the main villain, and oh my god is he so edgy. My favorite thing about the Link Click was how down to earth it was, and it wasn't too extreme, but this guy was so cringy to listen to sometimes, it was actually unbearable. In season 1, the main villain that they actually focus on was low-key kind of scary because he was pretty smart for an average person. But in season 2, everyone tries so hard to be edgy. And the ending was just so weird because, like, they were just talking about new things to try and build up to a season 3. And I definitely am not so excited for season 3 as I was for season 2. Now, there are still moments of good writing in Link Click Season 2, such as the deaf girl with pink hair, and wow, I'm starting to sense a trend with deaf characters. Anyway, the backstory of the deaf girl is actually pretty well written because of the way that everything is handled in the story. It actually feels kind of chilling to watch as an old man is beating his entire family, and shows that even though the main characters have special powers, they still aren't able to fix every single problem that comes their way, which was something that I loved about the writing in Season 1. Also, I love the dynamic between the 3 main characters because I just think that they all bounce off each other very well. And I don't think that any of them are too stupid to the point where it gets really annoying, so that's a really good thing. Now, I still really like Link Click as a show. Although the concept is pretty simple, the writers push it to the very limits that they can, even if it is kind of questionable at times. And I still really enjoy the show, but I won't be rushing to season 3 as fast as I wanted to with season 2, depending on what comes out around that time. And for the final anime I will be talking about, this was also not a Japan exclusive product. In fact, it was a manhwa, and it came out 2 years ago, and it is called Solo Leveling. Now, I remember hearing about Solo Leveling about 2 years ago when it first started to have a surge in popularity, and my friends tried to recommend it to me as much as possible. So eventually I gave in, and I read it, and I did not make it past the first fight. And so my cousin also read Solo Leveling and begged me for about a month to read Solo Leveling. And I tried to give it another shot and I still did not make it past the first fight. And I said, I'm just going to wait for the anime to come out. And you know what they say, third time's the charm, because I waited for the anime to come out and I still did not make it past the first fight. I don't know what it is about Solo Leveling that just doesn't interest me. I guess the idea of watching someone get stronger is something that just I don't care too much about. Although I will say that for the dubbed cast, there was a pretty funny joke if you know the voice actor Alex Lee. He voices the main character Sung Chun-woo. And there's a really popular scene from the manhwa where Sung Chun-woo walks up to a suit and armor and he goes, "Arise." And so a lot of people were putting a lot of pressure on Alex Lee to try and make sure that it would come out well, even to the point of sending death threats. And most voice actors would probably be a little worried, but not Alex Lee. All he had to say was that he was going to change the line to "wakey wakey, get up for school," and out of nowhere, people were on his side. Instead of trying to put pressure on him, they were begging for him to change the line to "wakey wakey," which honestly is why Alex Lee is such an amazing actor and why I would even consider picking up the anime again. And in case you're curious, no, he still said "arise." As for the future of my personal Solo Leveling experience, I don't know how it's going to go because I've seen so many clips and none of them have actually convinced me to want to watch the show. So I think that this is something that's just not for me. And just because it's not for me doesn't mean that other people can't enjoy it, because I heard a lot of people still love Solo Leveling. It's just something that I don't think I could watch. And this is going to be the end of this short episode of On Cloud Anime. I am so sorry that this episode is so delayed. I am aware that it is almost May and I have not recorded the April video. And I promise that the April video will not take as long. And I have another video just in case that anything happens. Because I'm going to be a tiny bit busy in the near future for a short amount of time. But I want to make sure that you guys still get your episodes because I appreciate every person tuning into these episodes. And since it's the end of April, nearing May, we are officially in the new start of a new season, meaning that there's going to be way more things to talk about. And so with that, if you want to see more of me, follow me on my YouTube channel at Photaru. And to anime fans new and old, I hope you continue to listen. And this is your host Photaru of On Cloud Anime, seeing you later.